funny, that. Yeah. We are travelling at 2.3 mile an hour at the moment. It's okay. It's very quiet. That's my social interaction for the day. I'll be worrying about that for the rest of the day, whether or not I interacted right, whether or not I said anything wrong. But yeah, Bentley had a huge drug problem back then. Basically, in the squat, what would happen is this. People would actually go out in the morning, steal from some of the higher end up houses while the people were at work, go straight to a fence who would give them an amount of money for the electronics and that. And then they would go to the drug dealer just down the road, buy their next hit of heroin, which was the thing that a lot of them were on. Then they would bring that heroin to the squat and shoot up with the heroin. There were people there doing that from 14, 15, 16, up to like 20, 22, 23. I was 19. I did not do any of that. I didn't do any hard drugs. I did try cannabis back then, and I did try LSD, which is quite amusing, but I never actually tried anything hard. And people just ignored me and left me alone because I was weird and strange and psychotic, they thought, because I sat in the corner sharpening a knife. What they didn't understand, I was just stimming, and that was my stress relief and that, with these people in the house who were fucking taking needles and dirty needles and doing things, and people who, the justice of the system was horrible to me. It was like I saw all these people who, for one reason or another, couldn't get home. There was girls who'd come to stay there because they were abused at home, so they didn't want to go home. There was people who were being bullied at school who didn't want to go to school. There was people who had no home, who just hung out there, and it was horrible to see. And I just sat in the fucking corner, stimming and trying to stay in, focused and functional. And I would fix electronics for people with a 6-inch nail, a big lighter, some solder that I got, and some tin foil. And that's what I had basically to fix electronics. Of course, most of the stuff I fixed was stuff people had stolen. It's like, this is 40 odd years ago. So yeah, that was what Bentley was like back then. I remember the day my mum came to the actual place I was living and threatened everybody, threatened that she'd get the police there if they didn't convince me to leave. My mum was a firecracker, she was. She did that twice when I wandered off. First time was when I was in the squat. The second time was when I was at a friend's and I had decided to go and live on Snowdonia Mountain. Yeah, I decided to go and live on Snowdonia Mountain, and I burnt my tent and everything, which was quite amusing. But when I disappeared up Snowdonia, she basically went into the role play shop and tabletop shop and threatened to call on the Department of Work and Pensions, the thingy, to have them vetted by the tax people. She basically threatened everybody's life if they didn't tell her where I was. Thing is, autism burnout is a real thing. Autistic burnout is, well, especially when you don't know what autistic burnout is, especially when you don't know you're autistic and for some reason your brain just shuts down and you can't cope with anything and you just withdraw and you just want to run away and you can't talk to anybody, you can't speak, and just the whole world is too much and you just want to withdraw to a squat or withdraw to a place like Snowdonia where there's no people. I didn't know I was having autistic burnout. I wanted to get a job. I wanted to do everything my mum asked me to because I loved my mum, but I just couldn't. And that's the tragedy of it. If you don't have the knowledge of knowing where you are and what's going on with you, and all of a sudden your mental battery just disappears and you cannot function around anyone, and you just need to run away for however long it takes and just disconnect. Now I know when it's coming. Now I know when I'm in that situation. Now I can do things before it gets to that stage. I have lots and lots of coping strategies now because I know, but back then I didn't. Back then I would just wake up one day or halfway through a day and all of a sudden I couldn't function, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything. Okay, let's go up the hill. See, the batteries have regenerated a bit now. I'm back up to like 50 odd percent, 60 odd percent batteries. I wonder how much easier my life would have been, and all the wasted opportunities because they never diagnosed me, they never caught me early on. Would I have been able to complete my university course? would I have been able to... I could do all the stuff, I just couldn't cope with the people. Too many people around me all the time. I was always in sensory overload. I wonder if I would have actually got my BS, Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, and my HND, Higher National Diploma, instead of... The funny thing is I failed them in a way that meant them... The college ones I failed in a way where they said, hey, this guy is really smart, we need to send him to university. So even though I failed, they sent me. And then, even though when I went to university and I failed the first year, they put me through the year again because they could see that I was intelligent. They could see that I had I was natural with the computers. I always felt guilty. I always felt guilty as if I let my mum down. Every opportunity she gave with me back then. But then she started to understand more. That's when she started building up the funds for when she died. Because she knew I'd need something. She knew I'd need a home. Yeah, it frustrates me. It does frustrate me. Because if I had been flagged, if I had been found out at school, if they had caught early enough, they could have provided extra help. And I would have known what I was dealing with. And to tell you what, when you find out that you've got bipolar type 2, when you understand that your depression, that the way you're clinically, that you're actually, the reason you can't smile all the time, the reason you're not happy all the time, the reason that you have the dark stuff inside you, isn't because you're a bad person, it's because you're clinically depressed all the time and you're fighting against that all the time. It's... And knowing that you're autistic and there's a reason why the world doesn't make sense to you. Colleges and universities have special people that will help you out. They get extra money for disabled people and that, but I didn't know. I got accused of being lazy, of being an idiot, of being stupid. And I knew I wasn't. I was self-taught on everything. I can code in multiple languages if you give me a few days to look at the actual code and to understand it. I can rebuild nearly any computer system in electronic if you give me a few days with it. Sorry, yeah, I knew this was going to be a frustrating thing for me to revisit. And even with Powerless, understanding some of the stuff would have made such a difference. Anyway, we are going to head over. I didn't know whether I was going to go to Tesco, but we are going to go to Tesco I'm going to pick up. I've budgeted. I've got about £15 spare. So that's the amount of money I can spend there. I never go in with a calculator or anything. I just sort of feel my way instinctively and usually manage to do. I need to pick up some washing up liquid. That's the main reason I'm going there. Pick up some washing up liquid. That's the first thing I've got to get. And I want to get the dog a sweetie. When I get back, I'll open the back door for the doggy. Right. This has been a nice wander. A nice little wander. We shall be going through the town to Tesco. Hopefully there won't be too many people in Tesco. It's a bit later than I usually do this. Okay. Yeah.
Not having enough stock.
Oh, someone on another mobility scooter. Make sure no one's coming here. I'm going to go up into this middle of town. Take a little break, take off. I'm going to take off my, then again, no, I want to keep my gloves on because they're, actually we'll go this way. We're not going to go I was going to go down the centre of town, but there's probably quite a lot of idiots around. I hate to say that, but we do have a drug problem in me and I love this place. I always wonder how hard it... I'd said it last time.